It is a new year and a new episode of the Top 8 podcast. I'm Matt Batiste and joined by a lovely bunch of people, of course. We have my co-host.
Yes, TJ, as always, and we're joined by the wonderful people in... Feel free to introduce yourselves. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello. Mike and Rossy are here as our very first guests of 2025, which is super exciting because they've been our internet friends for the last year. And I feel like it's the perfect way to start out 2025 because I really feel like internet friends are going to have a huge year this year. And I'm really excited to see what they do this year and make sure that you're streaming them, checking them out on socials. They continue to put out some awesome content and some awesome bangers of songs. If you are listening to this podcast, there's a good chance that you grew up on the same pop punk and emo music that we all did. So it's actually funny. Off air, we were talking about some of the artists that impacted us and some of the stories in our first concert, and we're just kind of going like, wish we were recording. So now that we are, we're just going to kind of let the chaos ensue and let the conversation flow. And essentially what we're going to be doing this episode is talking to Mike and Rossy about their top 8 most influential albums growing up, the albums that influenced not just them, but also internet friends' sound. So I'm really, really excited about that.
Yes, we are.
And so Rossy, Mike, let's jump on into it. We had Rossy. He was a little bit late today, so we're roasting him for that.
Yeah, at least he showed up.
He did show up.
That's the important part.
I'm blaming the Australia time.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, let's blame it on that. Yeah,
we'll just blame it on Australia.
Yeah, Australians. Yeah, we'll just blame it on Australians.
Is Australia even real? Like, is that a real place? Like, have we confirmed that?
It is. I can confirm it's real. I found it. It's paradise. It's really here. It's awesome.
I don't know. I think you might be in on the Illuminati of the Round Earth Society.
Oh, jeez. Here we go. Everybody 2025 already getting canceled here.
Okay, but like let's be real here. Let's have a quick discussion. Don't flat earthers think that Australia is fake? Is Rossy an actor? That's what I want to know. Here at the Top 8, we ask the real questions.
We're getting to the bottom of this.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Flat earthers don't believe in Australia. Is that
you didn't know that? Yeah,
no,
they don't believe that Australia is a real place.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's spicy.
Is that real? Like, I don't think that's the case.
There's a documentary on Netflix. You need to. Okay. So we're like getting totally off of music topic right now, but I'm so passionate about flat earthers, and we need to have a flat Earth conversation before we do this. Okay. Yeah. So there's this
I just
Netflix
want to put it out there real quick. I am pursuing a PhD in science, so this is like triggering me to all hell. But please, Matt, continue.
You're going to be so much more triggered, guys. Oh my God, I love this so much. If we need to cut this, we can cut this. But this is like my passion is talking about flat earthers.
Okay.
There's a documentary on Netflix where they actually studied flat earthers and tried to like get to the root cause of their beliefs, right? And it's just wild, like the things that they believe, the things that they say, and it's just like the amount of times they contradict themselves or like prove themselves wrong, but then they just like thing. It was just so funny. And then the way that they ended this documentary was just the best. They provided like a study where they're like, we've got this laser, and if this laser hits this part of this thing or whatever, and this rate, then the Earth is flat. If it hits over there, then the Earth is round. It's over there where the Earth is round. And the guy was like,
they proved themselves wrong.
They proved themselves wrong. Went, I must have done the calculations wrong. Like, I'll run it again.
And like all the doomsday people and stuff like that. Yeah.
Now you mentioned the thing about the laser. I've seen that.
I think that clip has gone viral a bunch of times, but honestly, that documentary is so funny. Like, it's just like, it's comedy because you're like, wait, there's actually people that believe this stuff out there, and we're going to lose all of our flat earther subscribers for sure.
Oh no.
Really
that was our target demographic, so like I don't know what we're even doing here now.
Oh man.
Show's canceled.
Yeah,
all right. New subject for the show. What's your top 8 conspiracy theories?
Oh my god.
So do you guys think 9/11 was an inside job or what?
Yes.
Oh boy, here we go.
100%. 100%.
That's immediately where my mind went to too. I was like, I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah,
All right, how about we get into the actual list of maybe the number 8 album that influenced you guys?
Thank you, TJ. Let's get this shit back on track.
What a transition.
One of the best.
We'll start with Michael. Michael, what's your 8th most influential album?
8th most influential. I think I'm gonna say Hawthorne Heights. If only you were lonely. But there's kind of a caveat to that, and the caveat is I got into the band because of Nicky FM, which is on the record before. But I found that record. It was probably like 2006 or so. Or that song, and then that led me to listening to the new record with like Saying Sorry and all that stuff on it. And what's cool about that record is that like I listened to it so much, just like all the time. But it came with like one of those Victory Records like compilation like music video CDs.
Yeah.
And that changed my life. So like that coming with that like as a bonus, like that opened my eyes to like I don't know, like Between the Buried and Me and like heavier stuff.
Nice.
So it kind of opened up my like horizons. I don't think I would be here without like that CD and then that compilation coming with it. So kind of a crazy thing, but that's like really how I got even more into this world was like through that.
I love to hear that, especially because actually something that you mentioned, and I want you to kind of touch upon before we kind of move on to Rossy's album. But you touched upon this on the OurSpace with Matt Fatisse interview, which was a while back. So I just want to kind of get a refresher on this. And you mentioned this before we started recording. You don't actually listen to a lot of music.
I did at a point though. At a point, I really did. Now it's like Ross knows.
Blows my mind.
Yeah,
I've been a little better lately. I've been a little bit better lately, but I actually got Ross into Sabrina Carpenter.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah,
oh my god, I love that. Hell yeah,
dude! I'm a full Carpenter. I'm obsessed now.
I got him.
Did you watch the Christmas special?
No, I need to watch that on Netflix. Yeah, I need to watch that.
Yeah. You know what's cool about this podcast for me is that I'm actually gonna learn a lot about Michael that I don't know.
You are.
Yeah,
we're
awesome. We're kind of like matchmakers for people that are already together. We're kind of like, I think we're going to start a new business. Marriage counselors for bands.
Yeah.
So
I like that idea a lot.
We're going to rename the podcast as well. Band counseling.
I don't think that's as sketchy, to be honest.
No. Okay.
Okay, Michael, quick question for you then. If you don't listen to a lot of music, where do you draw a lot of inspiration from when it comes to making your own music?
Yeah, I don't really know, honestly. I think a lot of it comes from like stuff that I listened to like kind of growing up, but I also think that like I do like to stay like kind of current with things. Like there are some things that I'll like listen to and attach myself to for forever, like newer records. And like I'm very like, I guess I listen to like a small pool of things, but I think the other end of it too is that like I'm not really influenced by like other things in the scene because I don't listen to a lot of stuff in the scene.
I think that's a good thing.
It's kind of I don't like I listen to a lot of pop music and I think a lot of my like my sense for melody in a weird way comes from like dance music stuff because I feel like in like house music and certain things like that like there's like melodies are like and like chord progressions are a little bit different and so my brain goes to that almost sometimes. So I feel like that kind of I don't know gives me like a unique flair to that.
I like that a lot.
Kind of sounds like you grew up on all the emo pop punk stuff, but kind of grew out of it. Yeah.
I did grow up on, a lot of stuff like back in the day, like all my records that I'm going to be talking about is like stuff from like the 2006 to 2010. That's our bread
and butter. So that's
and
perfect.
Do you still go back and listen to this stuff to this day or?
Some of it I do. Yeah. I listened to some, I actually went through today and like listened to some records I hadn't listened to in a long time. And, I actually just did like an emo night, like guest DJ set in Dallas, like
sick,
nice,
last weekend. And so I went back and listened to a lot of stuff, kind of like just remembering like a bunch of things that I hadn't listened to in forever, and just be like, man, it's cool how it like takes you back to a place, like
it really does. The nostalgia trip is very strong.
Yeah, it's definitely cool, and there's so much stuff that I know I'm forgetting about, and that's kind of a bummer, but. Yeah, there's some like really big standout records that I still go back and listen to like pretty consistently, I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was only like half a phase for you.
It was like half a phase, you know? Only half a phase.
Rossy, what was your 8th album on your list?
So before I start going through them, I am going to say I'm coming at this from a writer's perspective. So I do need to say that most of my influence when it comes to writing songs actually comes from singles, not albums, and they're all pop. So it's like girl bands and boy bands and that kind of thing, right? But my list is all bands because like I'm like the 8 influential albums that influenced what I want INTeRNeT Friends to be like. So with that in mind, I'm going to say number 8 is Linkin Park Hybrid Theory.
Yes.
TJ just got a boner.
I did, 100%. Let's fucking go. One of the best albums of all time, baby.
No, I really think so. I really think so. Like, that album still stands up today. It's incredible.
So does TJ's boner.
I think production-wise, I think it was completely ahead of its time. It's like when I go back and listen to Hybrid Theory now, and even the Reanimation album, it kind of reminds me of like what Jordan Fish was doing for Bring Me the Horizon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
I see that.
And I know that Linkin Park was a huge influence on Jordan and Ollie Sykes because they've said in interviews, but it's just, I don't know, it's just so crazy how like you listen to the production on that, and you have to realize that all of the electronic stuff was made on hardware, which is like, that is mind blowing to me, right?
Honestly, like Mike Shinoda is like a genius when it came to that kind of stuff, like the early 2000s. Though Hybrid Theory and Meteora are just like so good. The samples they use, the electronic elements, just hadn't really been heard of at that time. So I've always given massive props to Linkin Park for specifically those 2 records.
Yeah, no, I feel exactly the same. Amazing songs as well. Huge guitar riffs, and the other thing that Hybrid Theory influenced me on was art. So like I really got into like drawing and graffiti and stuff because I was
going to say the stuff behind you there in the video, is that something that you did?
Yeah
Is that graffiti?
You mean on the door?
Is that paint? Yeah,
it's like paint pen.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah,
I can see the inspiration between like the
art
Linkin
style,
Park inspiration
kind of like,
and that style behind it. Yeah. So yeah, Mike Shinoda is one of my absolute heroes because, I wanted, like when I was growing up, I wanted to write like him, I wanted to draw like him, and I wanted to dress like him. Like he was the first person I saw. He was the first person I saw wearing Carhartt, and I was like, oh, Carhartt's cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, Linkin Park is on my list as number 8. Hybrid Theory, I think it's probably the best like rock album ever, I think.
Wow, that's big props. You know what? Let's just end on a high note. We're going to call it there, folks. And
be real, guys.
No, it's a great pick. I'm obviously going to have nothing but good things to say about Linkin Park. So
it's all subjective. So I hope that we're not saying anything bad about any of their picks.
No, I mean, yeah, fair enough.
Fuck you for that album influencing you as a child.
Not on my watch.
I am quite surprised that I've been agreeing with TJ so far. I thought.
Okay, are you the one that's in my comments? Like, I don't know what it is, but I'm just going to disagree with what TJ says. Come on, man.
Yes, that's me. Yeah, soul, my big goal today was just to piss you off as much as possible.
You know what? You made me happier than I ever thought I could be.
It's like in the first 5 minutes, it's like you're so nice, we become friends, and now I feel bad.
Now he's all mad about it.
He's like, internet friends. Right? It's okay. You can just roast him for his haircut or something.
Hey, I got a hat on. I can't see it.
We have 3 hats. Rossy's the one missing the hat.
He missed
Michael's
the memo,
hat's
dude.
stitched on.
Yeah, it's not. There's nothing under this. It's just brains.
There you go, boys.
Mike,
All right,
what's your
boys,
number 7?
I think I'm gonna say Kingdoms by Broadway.
Oh, okay. Underrated pick.
That's exactly why I said it too, is because I feel like it's one of those records where like if you talk about it, people are like, "Oh, I love that record," but like it's like not. I feel like it's not as well known as it could be. You know what I mean?
It's such
but like,
a one-off record. You either loved it when it came out, or you didn't know it existed.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly it came out in such a like an interesting time because there were so many records like coming out from the same studio. Like I'm pretty sure like Icy Stars, and maybe Sleeping with Sirens, and like Of Machines, and all these bands coming out of like the I guess it was all the same producer, but so that one record, I feel like it kind of like slipped between the cracks or something. Totally. But like I always thought it was such a sick record, and that's definitely one that I revisit like every so often, just because I don't know, it's so sick. I don't know how more people didn't know about it, but it was like such a MySpace like classic to me, you know?
It really is. That one?
I'm gonna have a confession here. I've never heard of it.
Dude,
yeah,
you should definitely go listen to it.
I'm glad you said something first. I was going to say the same thing. Like, I'm going to write.
Me and Rossy were on the same page.
Well, I also think too, like a lot of the records back then, if I'm remembering this correctly, there were a lot of records that would come out and there'd be like 5 songs on it, but it'd be a 10 song record and like all of it would be like interludes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yes.
True. And that record wasn't like that. I don't think. I think that one was like more of like a fully fleshed out like thing. And yeah, it's a sick record. It's such a sick record.
I love it. That one, and I always put that Jamie's Elsewhere record kind of in the same lane of like super underrated that people kind of forget even exists. So those 2 records are kind of like one-offs for me.
Man, I forgot about that
one. Both good albums though, yeah.
For sure, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's crazy.
I feel like that's what I love though about like MySpace culture, because it's like there were so many bands that were popular or we thought were popular on MySpace, but then it's like you talk to people years later that were like listening to the same music as you, growing up in the same scene as you, and they're like, who is that? Like, and it really depends on who you hung out with and what part of MySpace you stumbled onto, right?
Yeah.
Like if I talk to any of my friends in the area that like I went to high school with, I would almost guarantee you that like no one heard of Sugar Cult at the time, but I found Sugar Cult on MySpace and like loved Sugar Cult. You throw on any Sugar Cult song and I'm going to freaking go crazy to it. Like you play that on emo night, I'm going crazy, but I bet you half of the people in emo night are going to be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Like it's just so true. Like coin flip, right?
True.
Yeah, totally.
Rossy, what do you have at number 7?
Number 7 for me, I'm going to go with Sum 41, All Killer No Filler.
Hell yeah.
Solid choice.
Yeah.
Best Sum 41 record in my opinion.
Yeah, I think
TJ, stop kissing ass.
He's just speaking my language at this point. I don't know what you want me to do.
Rossy's my friend, not yours, okay?
I didn't even know he was the one that was calling me out in my comment section, but I'm loving all these picks right now.
It could have been any of us. Now you know.
Yeah, I think All Killer No Filler as an album. I think it was the second album I ever bought. Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I think the title like goes with the music. Like there is no filler on that
describes
album,
it. Yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so many good things I could say about that album. Like, I mean, Fat Lip, like the video. I don't know. It does, everything about that album. Like, I think that was probably one of the first times where, like, I was like, "Oh, this is like a hook." Do you know what I mean? Like something that was like da da dun dun da da dun. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, that's memorable." Like this in my head.
Like the instrumentals are.
Yeah, like a catchy riff. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was the first time I'd ever seen, like, I guess like a drummer doing something on a microphone. Do you know what I mean? It was the first time I saw a band being funny, and I thought that was really cool because I think it humanized them a lot. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but
I think that was a big appeal of bands like Sum 41, Blink-182 is they didn't take themselves too seriously. Like they were just having fun, chilling, hanging out. Like you could relate to that, right?
Took the words right out of my mouth. Like that's like the whole appeal to pop punk, right? Like they kind of like pioneered that, like, you know what? Fuck it. We don't give a shit. We like punk music, but we also want to have fun. And we're just going to we're stupid kids and we're going to act like stupid kids.
Yeah.
That was the whole appeal. And now we're in our 30s acting like stupid kids still.
Nothing's changed.
Like it's
except
actually
for Michael, it was only half a phase for him. So
yeah, it's like, you know,
he's got responsibilities
I'm kind of out
now.
of it now, but like I'm coming back into it for this. You know, then I'm gonna step back out. Then I'm gonna let.
Mike's like, I'm just here for an hour. I'm gonna tell some dick jokes, and I'm gonna leave, and then I'm gonna go back to being a mature adult.
Yeah. Yeah. He's gonna take the Jackass Forever hat off and put a fedora on.
Yes. Amazing.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah, that's like
front to back, all killer, no filler, every single song. Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Have you read Derek's book yet?
No, I haven't. Is it worth it?
It's worth it. I would recommend listening to the audiobook because he reads it. He does a killer job, and he plays. Like he plays some songs and stuff in there in the audiobook version. Really? Yeah. So it was like a nice little surprise. I listened to it in like 2-3 days. It's a quick short read. You really get like an insight into what was going on into the band and him, and a lot of like stuff broke that we didn't even know, and like a lot of band members didn't even know up until recently. So I'm like, I don't know if it hits a little bit extra home considering like grew up somewhat similar in the area, and like there's a band, one of the guys that he mentions is in a big Canadian band. I don't think they had really much mainstream success outside of Canada, but like when he started naming this guy, I was like, I did not expect to wake up and for this like news to drop and for this book to be about this other band that I liked alongside Sum 41.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about now.
Yeah. So, and I'm just saying this because I don't want to spoil anything for you, but you may have read some headlines and some news stories, but go and just like listen to the audiobook. Highly recommended for you and for anyone listening to the podcast as well. It's like a very big eye-opening book. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll do that. Awesome.
Michael, what do you have next? I think we're on your number 6.
This is my number 6. Yeah. I'm going to say To Plant a Seed by We Came as Romans.
Hey,
for sure. A lot of my stuff, some of my stuff's on like the heavier side too, but
hell yeah.
I think when that record came out, it's really funny because I remember like putting it on. Like I think I bought it on iTunes or something, and I put it on and it didn't click with me at first. Like I remember listening to it a couple times and being like, okay, this is cool, but like it was around the time when like, you know, that first Attack record had come out, and like Asking Alexandria and all the like crabcore and like, you know, and I don't know why it didn't click, but then I remember like when it did, it was like that was like my favorite thing of like, you know, I feel like records that like take a while for like to grow on me are like the ones that I kind of hold with me. And like I guess at the time too, like there weren't a lot of like dual frontman bands going on. Like it kind of became a thing, but like I feel like that band was kind of
set the
almost at the
for
forefront of it a little bit.
Yeah.
And like sonically too, like it was just like kind of a different thing for the time. Like it still fit in very well, but it was like a little bit more technical, and like the mix down was insane. But it was definitely one of those things that like, yeah, I think that was a record that I took a lot of influence in, you know, in bands when I was like in high school, and then like beyond that, like yeah, I just think it's a great record. And rest in peace to Kyle, because I was
just gonna say the exact same thing.
Amazing talent.
Yeah, they did that last tour where they were like, "This is the last time you're ever gonna hear like To Plant a Seed, anything from To Plant a Seed live." It's like I gotta go to this.
Pretty wild.
Great record though. Good pick.
For sure.
Solid pick. What do you have at number 6, Rossy?
Number 6 for me, I'm gonna go. What am I gonna go with? I'm gonna go with "Artist in the Ambulance" by Thrice.
Hell yeah.
This is a big Matt pick right here.
Yeah, 100%. This is one of those like pivotal post-hardcore albums for a lot of us.
Yeah. The cool story with this album for me was it was one of the first like heavier album or heavier bands that I listened to. Do you know what I mean? Paper Tigers was the first one. I remember I was on the school bus and I just switched to a high school where like it was over the other side of the country. Long story, but I didn't really have many friends or whatever. But word got around that I was a drummer, and there were like some older cool kids on my bus, and they were the ones that sat at the back, and they were like, "You're a drummer, like, do you want to be in our band?" And I was just like, "Oh, friends! I want some friends." Do you know what I mean? And so we did like a band practice, and they wanted to play all this heavy stuff, and I was just like trying to keep up, and I didn't know what I was doing. And then one day, like they got on the bus on the way to school, and then the bass player from that band at the time handed me the CD Artist in the Ambulance and was like, "Listen to this." I was like, "Okay." So that night I went home, and it was in the days of like iPods. So put the CD into iTunes, onto the iPod. And I remember listening to it and just being like, holy shit, like this is incredible. So yeah, that was I guess really, I've never really thought about it like this, but that was I don't listen to a lot of heavy music. I'm very particular about it, but that, I think Thrice Artist in the Ambulance, specifically Paper Tigers, was probably my gateway into heavy music.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that story because I feel like we all have a similar story in the sense of like some random person that you like respected or, you know, thought was cool or whatever hands you a CD. Yeah. And you're like, go and check this out. And it was like, it was Thrice, it was Chiodos, it was Under Oath, it was one of those post-hardcore bands. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, that cool person in my life like handed me this CD, and then you're just like, game changer, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It really changed my trajectory of like my music taste, because up until that point, I loved like the heaviest it got for me was, I guess, Sum 41. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a little bit of metal influence in what they were doing, especially the album after, or Killer No Filler. Does This Look Infected? Yeah. But that was kind of as heavy as it got for me, and I was still listening to Hanson and boy bands and girl bands, and do you know what I mean? That was what I loved. So yeah, if it wasn't for Artist in the Ambulance, I wouldn't have then gone on to some other albums that I'll mention later in the podcast. But yeah, it was changed my life, that one.
Love that.
Awesome.
Michael, what do you have at number 5?
All right, I'm gonna throw my curveball out right now, and Ross is gonna be very excited.
Do it. It's a Taylor Swift album.
Close-ish. Katy Perry,
Spears.
Teenage Dream.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, this was a banger album for the time, so you know what, say what you will.
TJ, can you stop agreeing with everything? You're making my life so hard.
Top to bottom.
Rossy just wants to roast TJ.
I know.
That's the only reason I came on.
Yeah. He's just
you know what? I'll stop giving my opinion. It is what it is.
No, great pick though. Oh my God, what an album.
It's so good. Yeah, like I was saying, it's like top to bottom, just like, it's such a crazy pop record. Like even the songs that weren't singles, I'm just like, that could have been a single. And like, not all pop records are like that at all. Like, it was just like you put it on and it's so stacked. It's like unbelievable how stacked it is. Yeah. And that record for me was pretty special because I was touring with my old band Mike Relocate at the time. And I was like very much like when I was in high school and early, I guess, college, like going into starting and touring and stuff like that, I was like, if it's not heavy, I don't like it. I literally felt like that for a very long time. I was like, that's all I want to listen to.
You were one of those people.
It's okay. I was one of those people too.
I was so into. There was a point in time when I wasn't really that into like singing either, and I'm a singer. It's like so goofy, but
you're also not into music, so it doesn't surprise me.
I'm also not into music, so it's like whatever. But
like, I hate music. I'm also a musician.
But like, check out these records.
Yeah.
Yeah, that record for me was just like, that was the record that like my friends showed me, and they were like, no, like pop music is sick, and I'm like, okay, yeah, they're super right about that. Like now I totally get it. Like you know,
just like the choruses on that record is like it's so easy to sing along with. Like that just gives you the template for like what a good sing along chorus should be.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're like I mean, especially these days with like, I feel like the songwriting in a lot of like these genres has like definitely gotten like a lot of stuff used to not be like very like, I guess it's a good and bad thing because it used to be like not very formulaic, and sometimes things would be like crazy and out of left field, and that was like really cool for the time. But then it kind of like evolved into like songwriting, like first, I guess. And like I think those pop records had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, fair.
So yeah, that record changed my outlook on music for the time, and yeah, it's so good.
Low key, I think the fall off of Katy Perry needs to be studied by somebody. But
what the hell happened? Okay, she got into beef with Taylor Swift. That's what happened. That's my theory.
Can't go up against the Swifties.
I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, I didn't even know that happened.
I'm pretty sure they did. I don't know. Maybe I'm just spreading rumors, conspiracies and rumors on this episode.
Because that doesn't ring any bells for me.
Honestly, it sounds like there's beef with everyone. You know, Katy Perry. I'm pretty sure Taylor Swift, and they squashed it a while ago.
Hey, that's pretty
if
on
not,
brand.
We start the rumor now.
That's pretty on brand for our EP release.
Taylor Swift and Katy Perry had a feud that lasted for years, but they eventually reconciled. Yeah, 2014.
This really happened.
And I'm pretty sure Bad Blood's about her. Is it not?
Oh, what?
Oh, really?
Who is Taylor Swift? Am I going crazy? How am I the only person that knows this in here?
I have no idea.
I don't know, but I'm here for it.
Taylor Swift, Bad Blood. I'm just gonna like go on Wikipedia, and then the media speculated the subject to be Katy Perry.
Wow.
So
interesting. Wow. Who knew Matt was such a Swiftie fan? Damn.
I was working for a top 40 radio station around that time. So
I forgot.
So you were in the know. You were in the know.
I was watching the TMZ headlines. But I guess my one last question about that pick for you, Mike, is: do you ever feel like a plastic bag?
Yeah, you know.
Just drifting through the wind.
That was perfect.
That has to be one of the worst lyrics of all time. Can you like? I think about moments like this with songs. Like the other one I always think about is that Carly Rae Jepsen song, where it's like, before you came into my life, I missed you so bad. It's like
I was just thinking about that like 2 days ago.
And it's moments like that, and the plastic bag one is another moment like that, where I just sit there and I think like, how did that come about in the studio? Can you imagine like 4 or 5 people sat around being like,
yeah, this makes total sense.
And then one person goes, do you ever feel like a plastic bag? And someone goes, That's it, guys. Press record. We got to hit. Let's go. Like, how the fuck did that come about? You know what I mean?
They were right, and a lot of people felt like plastic bags, dude.
They really did. You know what? Relatable.
There's a whole fucking community of plastic bag people that I didn't know about.
Plastic bag people.
Yeah, my favorite lyric from that era, from like the Max Martin era, is the "Now that I've become who I really are."
Yeah.
These are all like excellent Tumblr inspirational posts. Like I see
yeah.
Do you ever feel like a paper bag? And it's just like a picture
like black
of the
and
lake.
white image.
It's just a picture of the lake.
Oh, God.
Paper bag. Just a picture of the lake.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's the kind of thing that my mum would have hanging in her kitchen.
Yeah.
That's guaranteed. That's something that every boomer would be posting on Facebook too.
Yeah.
The live, laugh, love.
Yeah. Paper bag, plastic bag. Live, laugh, plastic bag.
Live, laugh.
Rossy, what do you have at number 5?
Number 5, I am going to go Funeral for a Friend, Casually Dressed and Deep in Conversation. So
Funeral for a Friend is one of those bands that like I wish I had gotten into at the time, because now I have like such an appreciation for them.
Yeah. Again, it was from the same guy that handed me the CD of Artist in the Ambulance. Yeah, like Casually Dressed and Deep in Conversation is like front to back. Every single song I think is for that time, I think single worthy. And it was the cool thing about that album was that was the first album that made me want to write a song because, yeah. And I guess, how do I put this into words? So what that album did for me was like, I felt something when I listened to those songs that I hadn't felt before. And the reason I wanted to start writing was the thought was, I want to start writing because I want to write something that makes other people feel like what these songs make me feel like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
totally.
it can. So I mean, I had written little bits and here and there by then, but I was any person that plays guitar does. Do you know what I mean? You're just fiddling around. But that was like the first time where I was like, I actually want to write full songs. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that lit my like songwriting flame, I guess. That
it kind of sounds like you were already writing songs, but that album made you want to write songs that were actually like impactful to other people. Like you didn't want to do it for yourself anymore. You wanted to do it for other people.
100%.
Would that make sense?
100%. Yeah. And it also shaped my philosophy on songwriting as well. I mean, I have some weird and long philosophies on how I songwrite, but I guess the main thing I got out of it was when I'm writing a song, if I'm there's this whole thing about like copying or taking influence, you know what I mean? And when I'm writing a song, I'm not trying to like write 4 chords and like a bunch of words with a cool melody, although I am. But first and foremost, I'm trying to back engineer a feeling. Does that make sense?
Yep. And you're like, I want people to feel like sad when they listen to this. So that's the goal that I'm going for. Like, I want people to feel inspired by this. So then you're kind of like, does that make sense?
Yeah. It makes sense, but that's not quite how I'd explain it for me, because like I wouldn't write a song with the sole purpose of like making someone feel like a certain emotion. It has to be an emotion that I've felt from another song already. Do you know what I mean? So like, for example, I write a tiny bit every day, and if nothing happens in 10 minutes, then I put the guitar down and I don't write for the rest of the day. And I just wait until the next day. So the next day I pick up the guitar, I write again. And I guess maybe half the time I'm writing at the moment, there'll be a little melody that comes out, or there'll be a chord change, and that feeling happens. Like we all know that feeling. Like, when you hear something for the first time and your brain goes, oh, I'm going to play this on repeat. Do you know what I mean? When that feeling happens in the writing process, like that's the feeling. Do you know what I mean? That's the feeling where I'm like, oh, okay, we've got a song coming. Do you know what I mean? That's the feeling I'm trying to back engineer.
Okay. Yeah. So you're looking for that feeling that like another song gave you, that you want to represent in your, like, you want to feel that same thing when you're writing your music.
Yeah, I think so, because if I guess the way I think about it is, if I can make myself feel like that, then I can probably make one other person feel like that. And if I can make one other person feel like that, I can make 8 billion people feel like that. Do you know what I mean? Like that's it kind of eliminates the guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So yeah.
So basically you're trying to make other people feel like a plastic bag.
I knew it was coming. I felt it in my mouth. That's why I smiled. I smiled before he said it.
I was like, oh my God, he's going to do it, isn't he?
Totally.
I had to. Come on.
You had to. It was so obvious.
It's been a rough week. So this is great. I've been able to practice my comedy routine on the podcast with you guys. So
yeah, there you go.
Katy Perry specific comedy routine, right?
You have no idea how long I've been waiting to use this Katy Perry material. I've had this in the bank since 2015. Okay.
Oh my God.
It's the perfect time. You never know when the timing is going to come up. You gotta be prepared.
You never know. Know. Mike, what's your number 4?
I'm going to say Juturna, Circus Survive.
Okay.
I
kind of figured this one was coming with all the post-hardcore mentions up to this point.
Yeah, for sure. Another record that some of my good friends showed me, because when the record came out, I was probably like 16 years old or something like that, and still very much in like just only listening to like really heavy stuff. But yeah, someone showed me this record, or they were just like listening to Circa Survive, and probably like Of Machines too is probably around the same time. Just like really high pitched singing stuff, you know. But yeah,
this is gonna be the one time I disagree with you guys, but I've never been able to get into this band. I don't know what it is.
Survive?
Sean.
I just had a conversation with somebody else a couple days ago. I think we did another podcast, and we brought up Circa Survive, and they were not very like. They're just like, yeah, not a band I can get into. And I was like, really? That hurts me to my soul.
I'm like,
it's one of those, is either you love it or you hate it. I don't know what it is.
I understand. Yeah. I totally understand that too. I think, I don't know. I just, it's one of those records that like, it didn't sound like anything else at the time for me. It's just really like, I don't know. You can just listen to it and just like, it fits every vibe, but it's also like the kind of like soundscape that kind of like is all encompassing. I don't know. It's like, it's just a dope record. And I think specifically like just listening to Anthony Green, I wasn't into Seosin or anything like that. Like, until like way later. So I hadn't heard any of the stuff that he did with them. Like that was the first time I'd ever heard Anthony Green. So, just hearing that kind of singer, and like, he's very unique in his approach and all this stuff, like really, he's definitely one of the vocalists that like inspired me to like have the style that I have. So, and that record,
I can see that.
Yeah, definitely like front to back. Like I played that record so many times, and it's another one that, I revisit.
I love that specifically just because that was like a top 3 pivotal album for me, like into my foray with post-hardcore, and especially like high pitched singing. I think so many people don't realize that like the high pitched singing that guys like Anthony Green do is kind of like an acquired taste for most of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, like I came from Nirvana and Metallica into emo. So it was like when I was starting to listen to that, I was like, yeah, I like bits and pieces of emo and post-hardcore, but I don't really like the high-pitched singing stuff. Mm-hmm. And this was one of those albums. Like the 3 albums for me based off of the theme that we're talking about of someone handing you a CD are going to be Thrice, Artist in the Ambulance, Juturna, and Chiodo. So All's Well That Ends Well. Those are like the 3 albums for me. So I'm happy that you have Juturna on there because because when I heard his voice, I was like, oh, this is exactly what I typically don't like. Mm-hmm. But there's something about this album. There's something about the magic of the songwriting and the singing and the lyrics and all of that just makes it so special. So it's so cool to like hear you say that. And like, it's that because I also wasn't into Seosin before I got into that. Like this was the album for me. This is how I discovered Anthony Green too. So I love to hear that it was the same for you as well. And it's so cool that you actually mentioned that that's what helped you develop your style.
Oh yeah, totally. For sure. He's so dynamic in his approach. Like there's he can be like really soft and like kind of intimate sounding, but then he's also got this crazy, like, crazy yell and like grit that's like, that goes along with like a higher pitched voice. And I was just like, I don't know, something about that is just so cool to me because I had never heard anything like anything like that at the time. Obviously, there was a lot of like singers that were, singing in like higher keys and certain things like that. But like that exactly the way that he does it, I don't know, it's his own thing,
It's
so
super unique for sure.
Yeah.
Take me back to when you first picked up that CD, put it in your Discman or put it on your iPod and you press play. What was the feeling that you got when you started listening to that album for the first time? What did that feel like, that whole experience?
Man, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm pretty sure I probably listened to like singles first, and then I went back and like listened to the whole thing. But yeah, I don't know, I was kind of mind blown because like literally nothing that I'd ever listened to had sounded anything like that. But it also felt familiar at the same time, which is like, yeah, I don't know. It was just I don't know. It's just a wild CD. Hard to explain. But
yeah, the only reason why I asked that is because music does this weird thing where like it like gives me a feeling, but then I also picture that feeling. So like I went on Emo Social Club a little while back and we talked about Motion City Soundtrack, and I talked about how Motion City Soundtrack always felt like a warm hug on a cold winter day.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that's the same way that I describe that album for me. Juturna and Motion City Soundtrack.
I get that because it's, I don't know. It's just like I said, like it feels like the music surrounds you when you listen to it. Like it literally feels like you're like, I remember listening to that record at a point and being like, and realizing that music is like 3D, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's how that record feels. So like it totally makes sense completely.
Although you've also never experienced a real winter being in Texas, so
no, I haven't really. I did a record in Michigan for a month in January, and it was horrible.
That's pretty bad then.
It was horrible.
Yeah, you're in Michigan and it's January.
Yeah, it was tough. It was real rough. Very, very, very cold.
Did you feel like a plastic bag while you're there?
Okay, you know what? We're going to cut that there.
Frozen plastic bag.
This is going to be the title of the episode, okay?
I know.
I'm just setting it up. We're setting it up every time.
Top 8 plastic bags with
can't get away from it
with internet friends. Rossy, what do you have at number 4?
Number 4, I'm gonna skip way forward. And I'm going to go with Life's Not Out to Get You by Neck Deep. And I recently...
Yes.
Oh, TJ, stop agreeing with me.
I know.
I recently got it tattooed on my leg.
Hell yeah. I got a tattoo for it too. Right
oh my God, you guys are best friends now. This is gross.
It's I credit it as the best modern pop punk record of all time.
It's still going to be the best modern pop punk record of all time in 20 years when it's not modern anymore.
Yep.
Yep. Maybe.
Yeah, sorry, best 2010s pop punk record. I'll put it like 2010, 2020, that decade.
Oh, for sure.
I
definitely agree with that for sure. So the reason I picked that one is because so Casually Dressed and Deep in Conversation by Funeral for a Friend. I can't remember when that was. That must have been like 2005, something like that. So that was kind of the point where, like, around 2006, I kind of gave up writing songs, and then my life took a different turn, and I started working on like the music side of business. And Life's Not Out to Get You by Neck Deep was the first like new pop punk album. I was so late to it. I didn't hear it until like maybe, I don't know, 18 months, 2 years after it came out. But it was, I just kind of one day was like, I wonder what's cool in pop punk now. And I found Neck Deep, and that album like got me back into listening to pop punk, which is pretty cool.
That was MGK.
No, well, that was no. MGK got me writing it again. So Life's Not Out to Get You. Life's Not Out to Get. Life's Not Out to Get You.
Great.
Life's Not Out to Get You got me listening to pop punk again, and then MGK got me writing it again. But
wow, okay.
MGK is what we're waiting for the last one. He's saving the best for last.
It's coming out.
Yeah. Thanks, man. You ruined it.
So on that subject, though, not of MGK, of Neck Deep. I was listening to another podcast earlier today, and they were talking about walkout songs. So I'm curious from you guys, what would your walkout song be?
From that record specifically, or from anything?
No. So the reason why I brought it up for me is because in my mind, I'm thinking Gold Steps would be my walkout song. That's my hype up song. That's a song when I'm at work and I need to like get into that state where I need to get into a good mood and whatever. It's like, it's great because it's like, life's not out to get you. So it's just kind of like, you know what? Life's not out to get me. I'm going to go and I'm going to fucking take this on. Like I've been moving mountains. I'm just kind of like, I'm going to go fucking move mountains and I've got this shit. So it gets me amped up. And that's my walkout song because it gets me energized. And I'm curious on this topic. We're going to break from the lists for a second. What is your walkout song?
I think I've never heard this question before, but like, what am I walking out to? Like WWE?
Okay. It's like, I was going to say, I picture like at the UFC arena and I'm walking out to go into a fight.
So in another life, I'm a UFC baseball. Yeah. Okay, so in another life, I'm some athlete and I'm walking out.
Yeah, like you're walking out as a baseball player or as like, when they in sports, they walk out to songs, right?
Does it have to be from that album?
No. It could be any. I want to know what your walkout song. Like the reason why I brought it up is because my song is on that album, but yours can be like freaking Katy Perry.
The plastic
I have
bag
mine
one.
if you want me to go first.
Yeah, you can go first while they think.
Okay. I think mine would be One Step Closer. Just that riff that like opens up and like it gets me so hyped every time.
That's good.
This is so annoying.
That's good. That's really good.
I was gonna say that.
That's really good.
I swear
Same
to
brain.
God. I'm not just saying that to be funny. I was pretty much gonna say word for word what TJ just said. Yes.
Hell yeah.
so I'll change from TJ. I think the other walkout song would be Paper Cut. Like Quiet Arena.
I was between those two as well.
Do you guys just like
yeah, right? We'll just split off and do our own podcast.
Do you guys just like kiss already or what?
Come to the screen.
Exclusive
I can't reach mine. It's over here.
Right,
gotta put that shit behind the paywall, baby.
Yeah.
Now this is an OnlyFans exclusive episode. Michael, what would be your walkout song?
Man, I'm on the spot right now. This is a curveball I did not plan for.
It's a hard question.
It's
As a guy that doesn't listen to music,
Michael's walkout song is just silence.
I will say this. I was so late to this, but I've been listening to it a lot this week. So I'm gonna say "The Summoning" by Sleep Token.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
that song is wild, and it comes in so like crazy. And there's a moment
it gets so hyped towards like the middle section though, like where I'm like, you have to start it there for sure.
Yeah, there's kind of, I feel like there's kind of a build up at the beginning, but there's some really crazy moments. The biggest moments are right before it like kind of like dies out for a bit, and then big switch up. But there's some moments in that song where I'm I think they're like so like, I don't know, it's just so tough sounding, I think it'd be cool.
I love that. I just assumed that everyone already had their walkout song in their head.
No,
we had to describe what a walkout song is.
Yeah, I've never thought about it.
Australians,
but also I'm British. Also, like I think your walkout song has to be different for the event. That's why I wanted to clarify. Like, what am I walking out to? Like, is this a sports arena or is this like my dad's funeral? Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Oh my god!
Imagine One Step Closer starts at the funeral,
right?
Oh, shit.
Or Highway to Hell.
All right, yeah. All right, what's the best walkout song to a funeral?
All right, drop it in the comments right now. What's the best walkout song for
What's your funeral walkout song?
Yeah.
All right, let's get back on.
All right, we're getting into the top 3 now.
Yeah,
Mike, what you got at number 3?
Oh, it's my turn. All right, sick. I'm gonna say "Brand New Eyes" by Paramore.
Oh hell yeah!
I knew that
the
one
best
was
Paramore
coming.
record.
Yeah, I made Ross listen to that with me a while back on a car ride. I was like, "This is the one." Yeah, that I'm always getting into things late, and I got into Paramore really late, and that was the record that my friends were showing me at the time, and I mean, it's Hayley Williams, like.
I know
she's like the GOAT,
the queen.
She's. I think she's like maybe one of my favorite. Like, if not my favorite, I'll just say she's my favorite singer ever. Like I listen to her more than probably anybody.
Do you prefer Hayley Williams as a singer over Tori Kelly?
I listen to Hayley a lot more than I listen to Tori Kelly, but Tori Kelly is insane. I think she's like technically the best I've ever heard. Possibly.
Yeah, you've opened my eyes to that and convinced me of that for sure.
She blows my mind. But I don't know. There's just something about like, Hayley Williams, like
she's got a power to her voice. Like if you listen specifically, to All I Wanted, that little section where the instrumentals drop out and it's just her like building into that scream. I'm like, Hayley Williams is the GOAT.
We don't accept phenomenal. We don't accept any Hayley Williams or Paramore slander on the podcast.
No.
Yeah, not on the podcast, not on social media. If you say anything bad about her, you're getting blocked. She's like the queen, the Swiftie equivalent to Hayley Williams. Yeah. You say anything bad about her, you're blocked, you're out, you're canned. I'm gonna sign your email up for like one of those like I'm gonna put in your address for one of those like stink bomb delivery mail things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Like
glitter
a
bomb
glitter,
you.
glitter bomb, yeah. A glitter bomb.
yeah.
Say anything bad about Haley Williams, enjoy your glitter bomb, bitch.
Here's some inconvenience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you stub your toe.
I did that the other week. I'm going to bring that up now. I thought I broke my toe for like 2 weeks. Ross knows about this. It turned black. It was horrible. I had to go to the doctor and like get an x-ray and stuff.
Oh, God.
I hadn't done that in a long time, but I'd stubbed my toe. It was horrible. So whatever. That happened.
Michael was the biggest hypochondriac I've ever met. He stubbed his toe, right? And he probably broke it. And everyone knows all you need to do is just tape them together.
Tape them together, yeah.
You know what I mean? And just leave it. Have you still got the boot you bought?
No, I got another boot.
No.
I returned that boot and I got another boot. Yes.
Right.
My God.
He went on one of those Google searches where you keep going. If he spent like 5 more minutes, he would have been like, I've got cancer. It's like one of those rabbit holes, right?
Oh yeah.
Another 10 more minutes and he would have found out that the earth is flat.
Yeah, I could be anywhere. Hey, I'm very impressionable, okay?
But he got down this rabbit hole, right? And he showed it on a podcast we did like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It looks like a literal snowboard boot.
Yeah,
it was huge. And on the podcast, I saw him realize, like, I think I should probably return this.
It was my pinky toe.
Your pinky toe? That's what we're doing all this for?
Yeah. Well, okay.
That's crazy.
I all the way up to his knee.
I saw. Okay, so that was the issue. The issue was I got on YouTube. I said, "What do you do with a broken toe?" And they go, "You buddy tape it." So you tape it to the closest toe. Then you click on that, and there's another video that says why you should never buddy tape your toes. So I click on that, and this guy's like, "The only way to heal it is to buy a full size boot up to your knee." And so I'm like, good enough for me. So I fucking bought a full-size boot and I put it on and I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. This is like so stupid.
I'm concerned for your well-being. I'm not going to lie.
I have some snake oil to sell you.
I'll buy it gladly.
Amazing.
But Haley Williams is
great.
Oh my God. That was a crazy tangent.
She's a goat.
When I was in high school, there was a guy in my school that claimed that at Warped Tour, he met Haley Williams and they made out. And I don't believe it for a second now, but in high school,
you're like, what?
I was because he was also, I think, 1 or 2 years older. So it's like, you're like, oh, the older cool kid. Like, yeah, he wouldn't lie about that. And now I'm like, he's a fucking liar.
Yeah.
100%.
That's incredible.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Fucking liar. I'm still jealous that he had the balls to even lie about that. Just the possibility. Fucking asshole.
Rossy, what you got at 3?
What do I have at 3? Wait, so am I doing 3? Michael's doing 2, and then I'm doing 1. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Mike just did 3, so it's your 3 now.
So it's my 3 now.
You have 3 more. You have 3 more.
I have 3 more. Okay, so I'm going to go with Blink-182, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Yes.
So actually, let me start by asking.
Sorry, I'm agreeing with everything.
I know. I hate this.
Again. Agreeing with
TJ's just trying so hard to be your bestie.
Dude,
right
we've
now.
talked about this on like several podcasts before. Take Off Your Pants and Jacket is the best Blink-182 record.
Yeah, it's untitled, but sure.
I don't know why this is happening, but I agree with TJ again. So. Yeah, I was going to ask you all, like, what do you think? I mean, you can't really say what's the best and what's not because it's subjective. But what's your favorite Blink album?
Untitled, and then it's Take Off Your Pants and Jacket.
Why?
Because Untitled was that era where I felt like they really evolved into something beyond just the immaturity, and they were writing serious songs, but they still had that fun pop punk sound to it. So. It was just like the whole album was raw emotion, whereas like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, you had a couple of little singles and songs in there that you started to see that evolution come in. And that's why I like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket more than Enema, because Enema was that typical pop punk, all fun, all games, all jokes. And then you go into Take Off Your Pants Jacket, where it's a mix of the two. And then Self-Titled was full blown. Like, I have goosebumps every single song. And like, I'm happy with these songs. I'm crying at these songs. It was just like an emotional experience to me. I'm like, that album is Blink-182's emo album.
Yeah, no, yeah. You make a good point. And I think something really cool to think about is the trajectory of Enema of a State to Take Off Your Pants and Jacket to self-titled is like, I don't think there's a better trajectory than that for a band to like become who they are. Do you know what I mean?
You can see it, like,
you can hear it. Yeah, it's awesome.
That's also what you said, Matt, is the reason why Take Off Your Pants and Jacket is my favorite, because I think it's like a good balance of like Untitled is almost like too emo for me.
God damn it, I'm agreeing with TJ again, but yeah,
so juvenile that it's that happy medium.
Yeah,
I think it also depends on like what era you got into the band. I think with Blink, and I've talked about this before, like Blink has very easily become one of my favorite bands. I've got personal reasons behind that are very like emotional with my upbringing and like people that I was close with that are no longer with us. But also it was kind of like the way that my evolution into music kind of grew, where like I got into Blink-182 a little bit later because I got into pop punk a little bit later, right? Like I was into like the Metallicas and the Nirvanas and all of that. And then when my cousin started showing me the Sum 41s and the Blink-182s, by that point, I started liking a couple of the singles. And then all of a sudden they dropped Untitled and Feeling This and I Miss You were all over Much Music or MTV. And it was like, oh, hell yeah. And then it was like I picked up that CD and that CD was just like on repeat. So that, as a full album from start to finish, that was the first Blink album that I got to listen to. And that's what drew me into them. And then I went back and I listened to, even though I knew who Blink was and I liked them based off of their singles from Take Off Your Pants and from Enema. It was like, that was the first album that I hit play on from start to finish. And every single song really hit me. And that was it was like that and Boxcar Racer. And then I went back into Enema and Take Off Your Pants.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting to talk about how an album, like you connect it to a certain time of your life as well. And sometimes even like a objectively shit album can be special to you because of where it takes you back to. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I think that's really, I didn't really think about that until you just said, but I agree with what TJ says about, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket being a happy medium. That's why I like it as well. But everything you just said about what was going on in your life and why you like the self-titled album is actually the same reason I like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. It's, there's a lot of emotion in that album. It's pretty cool.
And that's why I put that as my second album, because like Stay Together for the Kids, and there's a lot of like songs on there that like, for me, I'm clearly an emotional guy. Okay. The fun songs. It's the same thing with like looking back at any single album. You look at that, it's like if a song has a deep emotional value and emotional connection to it, it'll stick with me for a lot longer than the fun ones. Like the fun ones are fun to revisit every now and then, but What's My Age Again will be fun to revisit every now and then, and it'll be a banger to sing at emo night, but it'll never hit the same way. It'll be like, I can skip What's My Age Again if it shows up on a random shuffle playlist if I'm not feeling it. But if Feeling This or I Miss You come on, like I'm never skipping those songs because they make me feel a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the best thing about music. I've always said if you could like bottle that feeling and sell it, I think it'd be the most popular product in the world. Do you know what I mean?
The best songs you like bonded with emotionally. So like they have emotions tied to them that are like have bonded into your DNA. So to me, that's where that comes from, right? Like
it's always the worst when you show somebody a song that you have a deep emotional connection to and they're like, it's okay. And you're like, oh my God, this song is like everything
feeling
to me.
Yeah.
Right.
I've stopped doing that for that reason. Because like I guess that kind of made me realize like, oh wait, it's like this isn't good. Like I connect this, so I feel like this for this song because I connect it to this moment in my life. But that person didn't have that experience, so of course they're not going to feel the same. Do you know what I mean? So
it's like 1 minute you feel one way, like with a song, showing it to another person. The next moment,
if you're about to say something about a paper bag, I'm gonna lose it.
That was the best one yet, because that one was, I did not predict it at all until it started happening, and then I was like, oh,
he started talking and he started to smirk. I was like, this fucker is gonna do it again.
He knows.
I knew I was gonna give it away with a laugh. I couldn't keep that one in.
Matt needs a Netflix special.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Mike, did you give us your favorite Blink record, by the way, before we get into your number 2?
Is it in your top 2?
Oh, y'all are gonna love this. I never got into Blink.
Oh, interesting.
I never got into it.
We better move on before we get any hate.
Who's going to kick him out? Who's kicking him out?
It's been real. It's been a lot of fun.
What I gather from you is your passions mostly lied in the heavier music, so it kind of makes sense to me. But
yeah, pop punk as a genre, it's really funny because now I'm in a pop punk band. But
yeah, right.
I was into pop punk for a decent bit when I first started going to Warped and stuff, but then it turned into heavier stuff. So I was like all in on like metalcore for a very, very long time, and so I missed a lot of it. Yeah, so I never really got into Blink. Yeah,
That's okay.
The songs that I do know, I enjoy. But me and Ross watched them play Coachella, like the live streams when we were in LA, and then when they had Coachella. I think we watched them like both nights in a row, or not. They didn't do 2 nights in a row. They did 2.
No,
weekends.
they did. Yeah. Because they played the Sahara stage, and then someone
they took over for Frank Ocean.
Frank Ocean, and then they got on the main stage as well. Yeah.
So we watched that, and that was a lot of fun. It was really dope. But yeah, I don't know. And we also like went back and watched some of like the was it like a documentary or something on MTV? They were about to play like all the small things at the music awards.
Oh, when all the little people come out.
Yeah, and Tom's voice is all messed up, and he's just like singing. He's just going all the like for like by himself, and they're like making fun of him for it.
Yeah.
So Ross has showed me a lot of stuff, but yeah, I never on my own like sat and listened to it.
Yeah, no, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
What you got at number 2 then?
Okay, number 2. Okay, I had to think between these two. Number 2, I'm gonna say with ears to see and eyes to hear, Sleeping with Sirens, and that's another like big vocal influence for me. So like when
the higher register for sure.
It's just the same. It's the same thing as like Circa, but like there's something about, I don't know. You hear Kellen and you just know. It's just like it's like an undeniable voice, you know. And in the same way, it was like a little bit. It was the same things that I liked about Anthony Green, but like there was a heavier edge to it, and I was into heavy stuff at the time. So like that, I was like, oh my God, this is like right up my alley, you know? And I went and listened to that record specifically today, preparing for this. And I was like, man, I forgot how sick this record is. And it's so different than any of their other stuff. Like it was like, in its own, it like very, very much fit with the times, but like the jump to like Let's Cheers to This was huge, like the very big jump. And I love that record too. But yeah, this one for me was like, I heard that and I was like, that I want to sound like that.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
You nailed it.
Let's Cheers to This is definitely the Sleeping with Sirens album that I kind of like register with more.
I love that record too.
Yeah, it's so good. But my wife is like a massive fan of Sleeping with Sirens, but she also likes the little acoustic EP that they did too.
Yeah.
But like, it's so funny to listen to that and then to go back and listen to like the original song. You're like, I forgot how goddamn heavy this shit is.
It's like straight up like scene core, dude. Like,
it's great though.
It's really sick. Yeah, I don't know. Like, that record specifically, out of any other singer that I've probably like listened to or like taken like influence from, that's probably like the one that I've taken the most influence from for sure. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
What do you have at number 2, Rossy?
At number 2, I am going to go with A Day to Remember, Homesick. I think that
your list is literally TJ's favorite album.
I literally have it tattooed on my calf, bro. Homesick is.
Do you really? Prove it. Let me see.
Do
you really?
Here we go.
I can't show it.
I can confirm he does.
Homesick.
I can confirm it's
there.
Yeah.
I've also got a Second Sucks tattoo. I fucking love A Day to Remember.
Yeah.
That's tight.
Homesick, I think. Yeah, I have a hard time with bands that do like screaming and singing. I actually went on a rant about this on Instagram the other day, just because I felt like it. Because I think if you're gonna like sing and scream, it's got to be like believable. Do you know what I mean? So, like for example, "Knock Loose," I love. I don't know what that guy went through as a kid, but I feel it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but asking Alexandria, Jesus Christ, like, give me a break. Like, you look at them, it's like, they're so pretty, the perfect hair. It's like, why the fuck are you guys angry? Do you know what I mean? It's never made sense to me. It's never made any sense.
Yeah, you had to be there, dude.
I was there.
Right now.
Yeah, I've always said that about loads of those scene bands. Like some of them I believed. Do you know what I mean?
True.
But a lot of them I just didn't. But I think A Day to Remember are the best. I think they're probably the best example of a band that does both perfectly. And I just think that album front to back as a whatever they call it, easycore, is that what they call it? I think as an easycore album, I just think it's I think it's absolutely perfect. The hooks,
the best example of easycore that you can find for sure. It was the bridge for a lot of pop punk kids like myself to get into heavy music too, just like bringing in the breakdowns and like the screams and everything, like that metalcore edge into the pop punk, and they just like fused it so perfectly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I think Homesick has definitely influenced a lot of how I write choruses for Internet Friends. Do you know what I mean? Like it's got.
Rossy's not allowed to give his number one before I guess. By the way, you need to remind me because at this point,
well, you've already ruined it, Matt.
At this point, I honestly feel like TJ and Rossy got together before the podcast. And TJ gave Rossy his list, and I'm being fucking punked over here.
Every album, I'm like, yeah, okay, like this is phenomenal. This is my list. Like, what do you mean?
Before this podcast ends, though, we have to find something that we disagree on. Otherwise, I'm just going to be annoyed all day.
I'm waiting for your number one. If your number one sucks, I'm going hard. Like,
okay.
No, I'm guessing his number one before we go. Let's just put that on the back burner right now. And we'll go to Michael's.
Yeah, Mike, give us your number one.
Number one first.
Number one, From Under the Cork Tree, Fall Out Boy.
There you go. Solid choice.
Yeah, there's definitely a story behind that too. So this record is really special to me because I remember like finding, I guess, like the music video for Sugar We're Going Down just on like MTV, back when MTV was like, the place to find
playing
like,
music.
Yeah, all the good stuff and like,
It was such a weird video. It definitely stood out.
The antler, they do with the antlers and stuff like that.
The antler kid,
yeah. It definitely stood out for sure. And I remember listening to it and just being like just addicted to it. Like, and I got the record and I was just burning that one out like nonstop. And I actually started a band with my little brother and like some people that I was in middle school with. And we like only did cover songs. We didn't write anything, but the first like live band performance I ever did was a cover of Sugar We're Going Down for it was an 8th grade talent show.
Cool.
And I was playing guitar too, which is funny, but playing guitar and singing with my little brother and my friends. And so that was like the first time I got like a taste of like playing live, and it was like covering something that I just loved.
And you're hooked ever since, or what?
I love. I was just like, I kind of knew in that moment, like, I kept doing it with the same people for a bit, just kept like playing shows. And then we went to different schools, and then I found new people to start bands with. And like every connection built up to like, me wanting, like being like, yo, I'm like really serious about this. Like I want to, it's like all the little things that add up to get you to where you are. Like I would not be anywhere near here without hearing that song or that record. So it's really near and dear to me. And also like, I didn't have like Panic on my list or anything like that, but like Patrick Stump and Brandon Urie, like vocally kind of have like a similar style, like especially back then there was like kind of some like similarities. Like they both have like, and Haley Williams too, like there's like little things that I hear in all these voices. They have like really like crazy vibrato and like a lot of dynamic and like a lot of like power and soul and like all this stuff. And those like those singers, like, you know, again, like I pull so much influence from that. Like, you know, it's
totally.
Yeah,
he's
so that
got a powerful voice, especially live too. Like he's a phenomenal singer.
Good.
Live.
He's so good live. It's crazy. I saw him a couple of years ago, and it blew my mind. It was so sick.
Yeah.
Good pick.
All right.
Go on,
Matt,
get it out of the way. Go on.
Under oath, they're only chasing safety.
He's 100% guessing that because that would be on my list.
Yeah, that would be TJ's. That's the only album that you haven't mentioned that TJ would pop a boner for.
That's so funny.
No, it wouldn't like that. No, that wouldn't even be in my top 10. That album. No.
Okay, there we go. There we go. That's something we can roast TJ for.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I like the album, but I don't think it influenced me.
MGK.
That's okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't say Tickets to My Downfall by MGK is the album that's influenced me the most ever. The reason I've put that at number one is because people know this who've listened to us on podcasts before. MGK Tickets to My Downfall is what influenced me to start writing songs and start internet friends and find Michael on TikTok. Like if it wasn't for that album, me and Michael wouldn't be friends. Internet friends wouldn't exist. We wouldn't be talking to you now. And I just think it's a really solid album. And remember, like me and Matt spoke about this on the last podcast we did with you. Like, love him or hate him, like you can't deny the songs are amazing. You know.
Honestly, Tickets to My Downfall is a great record. I loved it when it came out, so I'm not denying that. I hated the follow-up record, but that record was good.
Yeah, we all
especially the Halsey song. That shit goes so hard. I fucking love that song.
Yeah, and I love that story about how Halsey. Do you know what? Like, I think Halsey one-taked that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Have you ever heard that?
I didn't hear that either, but it doesn't surprise me. She's a pro.
I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
super cool.
If people want the like full long story version, we actually got into details on that on the OurSpace with Matt Fatisse interview that we did last year.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get for the people that haven't heard that episode and are just listening for the first time on the top 8, can we get the like 30 to 60 second spiel or story on how MGK influenced you guys into meeting and like the internet friends origin story there?
Yeah, did it just like re-spark a passion or what was it?
Yeah, pretty much. It was, so long story short, I was living in America at the time and I had to go back to the UK and renew my working visa. But when I got back to the UK, it was around March of 2020. So I got stuck there because everything shut down. And I couldn't go home because I didn't have my visa. All the embassy shut down. So I moved back into my childhood home at my dad's house, found my childhood guitar, black and white Fender Squier under the stairs. And I just started writing songs again. I hadn't written a song in over 10 years. And I just started doing it to pass the time. And I was having fun with it. I wrote one and I was like, that was all right. And then I wrote a second one and was kind of like, that's actually pretty good. And I wanted to see like what was out there, like what's going on in pop punk, just to see if I could get, is pop punk still a thing? Like, are people into it or whatever? And that's kind of when I found Neck Deep first. And I was like, wow, this is really good, but it's really old. Like, what's going on like right now? And then I can't remember how long after it was, but it was sometime after that, very close to that. I heard like a lot of Tickets to My Downfall, and I was just like, like my mind was blown, and to the point where I was like, this is going to be Billboard number one. Like I would bet all the money in my bank account that this is insane, and I was right, and so that just like inspired me to be like, fuck, I just want to be in a band again. Like, I remember how good this feels. Like, what am I doing? Like, I've done this other thing for 14 years and it was fun, but man, I'm like, life is short. Like, I want to do what feels good. And this is feeling so good right now. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
So yeah, so Tickets to My Downfall completely ignited the writing fire even more. And I was writing every single day. By the end of the year, I had like 60 or 70 songs. And I was really sure that I wanted to be in a band again by that point. And then I was scrolling TikTok like every day, typing in like pop punk singer, pop singer, rock singer. And I think I waited. I knew the kind of front person I wanted for the project. And I think about 18 months later, Michael popped up and I was like, oh, this guy. So yeah. And then rest is history.
So I think I actually have here, this is the first time that I think this will ever be on a podcast, but I think I have the TikTok that you specifically found Michael singing in as you were scrolling TikTok, and I'm gonna.
Was it the Paramore one?
Yeah,
here, listen to it here.
Yeah.
He's about to play. I fucking knew it.
We got Rick rolled. Matt rolled.
Oh my god! I should have seen
we
that.
Got coming. Matt rolled.
Dude, it was that smirk again. I was like, he's gonna do it again.
It was so seamless and so fast, and I was like, oh my god, there's no way.
For the last like 10, 15 minutes,
good.
I was just thinking, how can I get one more in?
Yeah, you nailed it.
He planned it.
That's crazy.
I was waiting for it.
And then so good.
When you started talking about MGK and then going into the origin story, and because I knew that you found him on TikTok, I'm like, I got this.
That's absurd behavior. We're leaving this behavior in 2024.
Oh my god!
It's 2025 when this thing gets posted. Buddy.
Oh yeah,
year.
right. I forgot.
We're past it. Now
oops.
It's a new year, 2025. The resolution is not to feel like a plastic bag.
And
guys,
with that,
thank you so much for coming on the show. Honestly, this is so much fun. I knew that this was going to be the therapy that we needed after a long week. So this is so much fun hanging out with you guys. Of course, to you listening and to you watching, remember to hit subscribe. Remember to follow, rate, and review the show, and go and check out Internet Friends if you haven't already on social media. But most importantly, wherever you stream your music. We know Michael's not going to listen to it because he doesn't listen to music.
Nope.
So we need you to compensate for that.
Please stream our stuff. Please.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, guys. We love coming on and chatting.
This is a great chat, guys. This is definitely the best chat we've had yet this year, which I don't know when this is actually going to drop, but I think that'll be fitting.
I'm honored. I'm very honored. Thank you for that.
It's been so fun.
This is a great way
you guys have talked about so many records that I've absolutely loved, so I didn't expect to have so much fun, but I did. I had a blast, so thank you guys so much for chatting with us.
Thanks for having us.
I'm going to email you both the Flat Earth documentary on Netflix after this.
I'm going to watch it. I'm totally going to watch it.
It's really good.
All right, we'll get into Riverside another day, and we'll all watch it together, and just
we'll have like a party, like a watch party.
Yeah.
Sick.
We should stream that and call it content.
There you go.
All right. Thank you so much again for listening to another episode of the Top 8 podcast.
We will see you next week.